When the discussion of Manchester United's greatest ever midfielder comes up, there is one man who is often overlooked. Paul Ince was the beating heart of one of the best sides Sir Alex Ferguson ever produced and labelled the best in his position by Eric Cantona. Yet rarely does his name get mentioned among the other greats to have worn the red shirt. Few have ever dominated the midfield quite like him, and even fewer have the same technical ability. They didn't swap Manchester for Merseyside though. The 1992–93 title started a cycle of winning trophies at United, Ince said 2 years ago. Sometimes people talk about the class of '92, but the class of '92 was the team that won that title. It wasn't Becks and Neville and Butt. I know what they're trying to do, but the class of '92 was that team that started the ball rolling. I think the '94 team was definitely the best of the modern era at United. People keep saying the '99 team, but half of those players wouldn't get in our team, apart from maybe Becks. It is quite easy to forget just how good Ince was in his prime. He was arguably the best midfielder in the Premier League during his final 3 years at the club, which coincided with a period of huge success. Not only did he possess the physical traits required to shine in the English top flight, but he also had the sheer athleticism and intelligence to carve open opponents and drag United further up the pitch. He was the unsung hero of the side that won the first Premier League title, bringing an end to their 26-year wait, and helped set the standards that Ferguson would go on to set during his trophy-laden spell at the club. Ince was instrumental in the 1990 FA Cup victory that effectively saved Ferguson's job, and he won 10 trophies with the club in 4 years, culminating in the domestic double in 1994. All of that was forgotten 3 years later, when he joined Liverpool after 2 seasons with Italian powerhouse Inter. You always get the same thing: "Oh, I used to love you as a United player and then you went to Liverpool." I say, hang about. I didn't go to Liverpool, I went to Inter Milan. And I didn't want to leave United. They sold me. Also, when I came back from Inter, United could have taken me back. They had first refusal on me. I have a wife and children. I have to put food on the table. So if Liverpool's the club for me at the time. And Liverpool were great, their fans took me in and didn't even mention the Man United thing. Ince was used to the traitor tag ever since he joined in the first place, following his controversial exit from West Ham in which he had posed in a United shirt before a deal was done. I spoke to Alex Ferguson and the deal was close to being done. I then went on holiday, and my agent at the time said it wasn't worth me coming back to do a picture in a United shirt when the deal was completed, so I should do one before I left, and it would be released when the deal was announced. Lawrence Luster of the Daily Star took the picture and put in the library. Soon after, their sister paper, the Daily Express, were looking for a picture of me playing for West Ham, and found the one of me in the United shirt in the pile. They published it and all hell broke loose. I came back from holiday to discover West Ham fans were going mad. It wasn't really my fault. I was only a kid, I did what my agent told me to do, then took all the crap for it. Ince completed a £1 million move to United from his boyhood club and would gradually develop into the world-class midfielder that he became. He played 281 times for United, scoring 28 goals, and played his part in the club winning 2 Premier League titles, 2 FA Cups, a League Cup and a European Cup Winners' Cup. Yet it counted for little when Ince felt forced out of the club after United's own betrayal. "I didn't choose to go there," he said. "Man United accepted a fee for me from Inter Milan. I could have turned it down, but I didn't feel right. After 6 years at United, they accepted a bid behind my back. I wasn't too pleased about that." Ferguson felt Ince had become too arrogant and famously stated, "There's only one governor around here, Ince, and it ain't you." But his concerns were also on a tactical level. Ince loved to bomb forward and go forward with freedom, while Ferguson wanted him to adopt a more disciplined role at the base of the midfield. The role did not play to Ince's strengths and restricted his artistry in attack. It was inevitable that conflict would ensue between the pair. Many supporters were frustrated that one of their best players had seemingly been sold for personal reasons rather than on footballing or economic grounds. I had to act on my conviction that the fundamental change in Paul's attitude, his insistence on trying to assume a role in the team for which he was not equipped, had diminished his usefulness to us to the point where a transfer made absolute sense, Ferguson said in his first autobiography. "Yes, I wanted rid of him, but if he had been determined to stay it would not have been possible to push the transfer through. There is no way you could force Paul Ince to do anything against his will. He had attached a rather silly title to himself. Don't call me Ince, call me the governor," he was saying, and that did not go down well. There had been a cockiness about him from the moment he came to Old Trafford, but I reckoned it was his way of masking insecurity. Deep down he worries, and I was happy to give him some license while he was young and immature. In our youth, we all drift in and out of a make-believe world. Paul Ince had reached an age of maturity, and this governor nonsense should have been left in his toy box. On the field he had already worried me with an altered approach to his game. He was spending more and more time going forward but not coming back quickly enough, and it was quite apparent that he was completely carried away. Ferguson had an incredible knack for moving on players when he felt there was a need for change, and perhaps the greatest trait of his managerial career was the ability to rebuild teams. Ince was arguably a threat to his own authority and power. However, the midfielder later claimed that the legendary manager made a late attempt to keep him at the club after sanctioning his sale to Inter. "I could have never gone from United to Liverpool, it doesn't happen. I went from United to Inter Milan, I didn't want to leave United. I had been there for 6 years, I was just about to sign a 4-year contract. It was United who accepted the bid from Inter Milan because they had the new training ground, they had Nicky Butt coming through, and they thought it was a good deal. United broke my heart cause they allowed me to go to Inter Milan, they sold me and they broke my heart." It was only a month later that Sir Alex rang me when he was in Colorado Springs and said, "I think we've made a mistake. Come back to us." Before I signed the contract for Inter, I had Inter Milan in my kitchen and Sir Alex rang me from Colorado Springs and said, "I think we've made a mistake. We want you to stay." I said, "Hang on, gaffer. I've got Inter Milan in my kitchen with a mega deal." Ince would not win any silverware in Italy, but he regards his time there as the best of his career. His performances across the first season attracted interest from Newcastle and Arsenal in his signature. He stayed on for another year and played a key role in finishing runners-up in the UEFA Cup. Inter fans held up banners begging for him to stay as rumours surrounding his future began to spread, with Ince keen to move back to England to be closer to his family. United had first refusal on any deal for Ince, but with no offer made, a bid from Liverpool would entice the player to make another controversial transfer move. "I thought it was a project for me to kind of go and do, and change the way the Liverpool players were thinking," Ince said years later. "I just felt they were good players, but just wanted to go out all the time, and I just thought that wasn't the way. I thought they needed that professionalism on the pitch." It says a lot about the ability and self-belief of Ince that he felt capable of restoring the Merseyside club to its former glory, given they had won just one FA Cup and one League Cup since their last league triumph in 1990. Yet despite his clear talent, Liverpool fans found it hard to accept a former United player, and United fans found it hard to forgive anyone who called Anfield home. Before a meeting between the two sides in his debut season, Ferguson showed there was no love lost between him and his former midfielder either, with comments he made in a pre-match meeting. As captured in the Granada documentary The Alex Ferguson Story, the former United manager briefed his team on facing Ince. "You just make sure you're ready for Ince tomorrow," he said. "That's all you need to worry about him. His F*****ing big time Charlie bit, he's against F*****ing men, am I right?" Years later, though, when asked about the incident, Ferguson revealed he regretted the comment. "We let a camera into our dressing room, which we had never done before, and it won't happen again. It wasn't a personality issue with Paul," he added. "With Paul you could not have a honeymoon all the time, because he was such a volatile character, but he never let us down." Ince also agrees that they have repaired their fractured relationship in the years since, but it was taken up a notch a year later when he netted a late equaliser for Liverpool against United and didn't hold back his celebrations. If playing for United's most fierce rivals wasn't bad enough, to score a late equaliser and then celebrate it in the way he did took it to a whole new level. Having thrown himself into the Kop after the late goal, Ince could be seen cupping his ear towards the visiting United fans at full-time, many of whom had turned on him for making the move to Anfield. "I remember the ball going into the box and I just ran forward. In front of the Kop, last minute, it was perfect. I'd always wanted to score in front of the Kop, and with Fergie and what he'd said, I just enjoyed it so much, and rightly so. I never understand not celebrating because you're playing against your former club. You play for these fans now. They pay your wages. It was an unbelievable feeling to do that." The big-time Charlie had delivered on the biggest stage and looked like he had scored a goal that could have derailed United's title bid right at the very end. It wouldn't matter, though. The squad Ferguson had rebuilt following his sale would go on to win the treble later that month, and Ince would fail to secure any silverware during his time on Merseyside. That summer, Ince felt betrayed again when he fell out with manager Gerard Houllier after he found out he had tried to sign Marc-Vivien Foé behind his back. Ince left Liverpool in search of a new challenge at Middlesbrough, and United would go on to retain their Premier League title the following season. Of course I'm a big-time Charlie, Ince reflected on his career. I played for Man Utd. I played for Liverpool. I won trophies. I won FA Cups. I'm no bigger-time Charlie than Cantona or Keane or Robson. But we are big-time Charlies because when it comes to the big events, we produce. That's why we're called big-time Charlies.